The city of Philadelphia, 1986. It's a bitter gray winter, and on North Marshall Street, just another battered row house sits with boarded windows, trash at the curb. If you walked by, you wouldn't have noticed a thing. Just a faint hum of traffic and the echo of old radio tunes drifting through the walls. Behind those walls, though, a nightmare was unfolding, and the man at the center of it all was Gary Heidnik. Welcome back to True Crime with Jackson. Today, we're going deep into the twisted mind and terrifying crimes of Gary Heidnik, the preacher, the millionaire, and most infamously, the Philadelphia basement killer. To anyone who met him, Gary Heidnik was an oddball, but not a monster. He was tall and hunched, with thick glasses, a patchy beard, and a strange kind of confidence. As a child, he was bullied mercilessly, called Mr. Magoo for his vision, and shuttled between homes after his parents split. In school, Gary was brilliant. His IQ later tested near genius level. But by his teens, signs of trouble surfaced: detachment, anger, and a knack for manipulating everyone around him. He joined the army, hoping for structure, but there, the problems only worsened. After a failed suicide attempt, he was discharged and diagnosed with schizoid personality disorder. Another few years, and Gary found a new calling, a church. But not just any old congregation. He founded the United Church of the Ministers of God, preaching a blend of Christianity and his own warped philosophies. Money flooded in, and if that sounds bizarre, it was. The church was, in reality, a front for Heidnik to launder disability checks and build a small fortune. At his peak, he held over $500,000 in investments. Yet Heidnik's hungriest ambition didn't involve sermons or stocks. It lay beneath the creaky floorboards of his row house, a basement with a dirt floor, tools, and shackles. December 3rd, 1986. That's when the abductions began. Heidnik's first victim was Josefina Rivera, a 25-year-old woman trying to survive on the streets. He offered her a ride and a warm meal. Instead, he dragged her down to his basement and locked the door. In his mind, this was only the beginning. Over the next 4 months, Heidnik abducted 5 more women: Sandra Lindsay, Lisa Thomas, Deborah Dudley, Jacqueline Askins, and Agnes Adams. His goal was as deranged as it was chilling. He wanted to create a family of captive women who would bear his children. He called his victims his wives and ruled them with a combination of violence, psychological terror, and bizarre religious rituals. Heidnik starved his captives, beat them, and made them fight each other for scraps of food. He threatened to electrocute anyone who disobeyed, and terrifyingly actually did so, using wires plugged into a wall outlet. Sandra Lindsay, weakened by torture and neglect, died within weeks. Heidnik dismembered her body, cooked her remains, and stored what was left in his freezer. Some reports even suggest he fed parts to the other captives, though Heidnik always denied it. It sounds like urban legend, but it's tragically real. As weeks passed, fear overtook the basement. The house reeked of decay, and the outside world moved obliviously on. And yet Gary Heidnik still kept up appearances, driving expensive cars, chatting up neighbors, even renting storage units across town. But what Heidnik never saw coming was his own undoing, brought about by the very women he believed he could break. Josefina Rivera, his first victim, realized that if she played along and gained his trust, she might survive. She convinced Heidnik to let her upstairs to help him kidnap another woman. Instead, the moment she slipped outside, she ran for freedom. Straight to a phone, straight to the police. When authorities arrived at the North Marshall Street house on March 24th, 1987, the basement door was padlocked, just as Josefina described. Behind it, surviving victims waited, thin, shivering, and terrified, chained to a filthy drain pipe. The officers could barely believe what they were seeing. Human beings kept like animals in the heart of Philadelphia. Heidnik was swiftly arrested. In his trial, he insisted he was insane, a victim of his own mental illness. But the evidence overwhelmed the court. The horror, the cruelty, and the planning behind every act. Josefina Rivera took the stand and recounted it all, her voice turning silent horror into undeniable fact. Gary Heidnik was convicted of murder and sentenced to death. In 1999, after years of appeals, he was executed by lethal injection, the last person ever put to death in Pennsylvania. To this day, the case leaves a scar. How did a self-proclaimed preacher turn into one of America's most nightmarish serial killers right in plain sight? And how many other monsters hide behind ordinary faces? Just another brick house in another ordinary city. If you found this case as shocking as I did, let me know your thoughts below. And remember, evil often hides in the mundane. Stay safe, stay curious. This is True Crime with Jackson. Until next time.